Hi again. I wanted to create a video that explained what my body's been through and give some context to all of this so that it also helps people to understand why I make the choices that I'm making as I'm training or recovering, or why I can't do certain things still. So I just wanted to give some context. And I'm down in Colorado Springs at the Broadmoor Hotel. We're down here for a convention this weekend, and I'm just so excited to spend some time here. I love Colorado Springs. We're right up against Cheyenne Mountain. It's absolutely beautiful. If you have not been, you must come. So my diagnosis was delivered to me over phone by my precious nurse navigator with Sally Job. Her name was Susan, and she called me while I was sitting in a coffee shop with my best friend. She told me that I had invasive lobular carcinoma. I had no idea what lobular was. I wrote the word down and I thought, do I have breast cancer or don't I have breast cancer? Like, maybe this is worse than breast cancer. And she explained that lobular just meant that the cancer had originated in the milk-producing gland. It was also determined that it was HER2 negative, estrogen and progesterone receptor positive. So I was told it was actually like the best case scenario, which I guess you have to have some good news, right? I started researching immediately, Dr. Google, lobular cancer, and learned that it can be a very, very sneaky cancer. It doesn't tend to form a lump. Mine formed a lump. I found it. It also doesn't tend to show up on mammograms and ultrasounds. Mine showed up. It didn't show up on my MRI, but at that point we already knew what I had, so not really sure why we did the MRI, but that's okay. Most women are diagnosed at a later stage because it's harder to detect this cancer. I was diagnosed at an earlier stage. I have been fortunate and blessed in every step of this journey, and I have had so many people praying for me, and I know without that I wouldn't have had the news that I had. So I want to thank you. Based on the news that I had received, after speaking with, in my opinion, the world's best surgeon, breast surgeon, and talking it through with my husband, my parents, my friends, I decided to have a bilateral mastectomy. And I did choose at my age to go ahead and have implants. And I have a surgeon who specializes in nipple and skin sparing mastectomies. So we opted for that. Of course, anything can change in surgery. And I found a plastic surgeon. Well, actually, my breast surgeon found my plastic surgeon for me and told me this is who I'm going to use. But my plastic surgeon was amazing too, and she does nerve grafting. So I had a great team, and they were going to try to put me back together to be as good as I was before. I chose the bilateral mastectomy because I just didn't know if there were other spots where this cancer might be that just weren't showing up. And I'm very grateful that I opted for that because my surgical reports show that there were actually 2 more spots in the left breast that also had cancer. And I think of it, they came from the primary tumor. So I always think of it as like a spider plant, like it had shot out these 2 little babies, and they were down in the bottom outer quadrant of the breast. The right breast was clear. So I just call it my peace of mind sacrifice. Because of all that we were doing direct implant over the muscle, nipple sparing, skin sparing, and nerve grafting. My surgery was 4.5 hours long. When I woke up from surgery, the first thing I said was, my shoulder's killing me. I really thought for a moment that they had operated on the wrong body part. The nurse didn't seem surprised. She just gave me some medications and pain meds. But my shoulder never got better. It never got better. And I complained about it every chance I got. But as far as the cancer goes, based on the Oncotype score that I received a few months after surgery, I think it was like 2 months after surgery, I did not need chemotherapy. There was no cancer found in these sentinel lymph nodes. They removed 3, so I did not need radiation. And it was recommended that I take a Lupron shot once a month to suppress my ovaries because I was perimenopausal, not postmenopausal, and that I start on an aromatase inhibitor, an anastrozole, which would stop all production of estrogen in my body. For personal reasons, and after many sessions of counseling with my wonderful counselor, I opted not to take the endocrine therapy that was recommended. I just felt like the side effects were more than I wanted to deal with, and I chose quality over quantity. I hope to get both, quality and quantity. I understand the risks of using the endocrine therapy and the risks of not, and there's no guarantee either way that my cancer won't return. So I have chosen diet, lifestyle, lots and lots of supplements. I've had many tests done, my microbiome, how I metabolize my hormones. So I am coming back to Ninja without having had to go through chemotherapy, radiation, and with refusing to deplete my body of estrogen. So frozen shoulder. Worst pain I've ever experienced in my life. And I have had 3 babies, all natural, without any drugs. And I would do it 10 times over before I would want to live through frozen shoulder again. I could not sleep. I could not raise my arm. I could not move it higher than this, and that would hurt. I could not move it out. I could not move it across my body. There's still tugging in there when I do it. I certainly could not put it over my head. I still, to this day, cannot get it straight over my head. We're working on it. It'll come. 3 weeks after surgery, started physical therapy. Started also going to see my chiropractor, and I added in, based on my best friend's husband's recommendation, Gua Sha from a massage therapist in Colorado Springs. She took a tool and would try to scrape the adhesions externally. The adhesions are internal, but she would scrape them externally. I looked like I'd been dragged behind a pickup truck on asphalt, but it works. 3 sessions, they were amazing. Physical therapy was a lot of stretching, a lot of dry needling, lots of tears, mostly out of frustration, not really out of pain. It was very limiting. I did everything that they wanted me to do. I did it at home. I did all the stretches. I did all the wall crawls. I did the heat. I slept with BioFreeze coating my arm. I tried CBD cream. I tried everything. Nothing could touch the pain. I slept many, many, many nights on the couch because if I would fling my arm out in my sleep, and I'm a vivid dreamer, so that happened a lot, it would bring me to my knees on the floor in agony. It was just so incredibly awful. I don't have any other word for it. There were a lot of limitations, lots of surprises. There are still so many things that are uncertain about my shoulder. And this is the part that I feel has been the hardest, has been the frozen shoulder. I've learned a lot about it. I have learned that it tends to strike women more than men, especially women who are peri or postmenopausal. People who have thyroid disease, which I have also, I have Hashimoto's, they are at an increased risk for frozen shoulder, and diabetics are also at an increased risk for frozen shoulder. It will resolve on its own, but that could take 3 years. And I don't know about you, but I'm not willing to give up my life to cater to a frozen shoulder for 3 years. And it breaks my heart that there are so many people who have no other option. There is surgery. They used to do manipulation under anesthesia, but they ended up tearing a lot of things, so that's a last resort. I kept praying and hoping that I would not have to have surgery ever again. So I've been very dedicated to the physical therapy, the chiropractic care, and the gua sha, as well as all the stretches and stuff that I could do at home. I had to let go of the image I had of myself before this. I really thought that by August or September I'd be back to ninja, back to weightlifting, back to OCR races. That was my plan. And I had to change it. I lost muscle definition. I lost strength. I lost so much strength. That was really hard. One day I noticed in the mirror that my left arm was visibly smaller than my right arm. Like, it was just so easy and clear to see. I couldn't lift a weight. I could not lift anything over maybe a pound with my left arm. So when, after my shoulder froze and I started entering the thawing stage, I started to push myself to lift some weights. And so I've been back in the gym now for a little while, sprinting, which you don't realize how much you need your arms to sprint. And when this one won't go back, you don't sprint. So it's been nice to be back. I'm not as fast as I was, but I have the ability to do that again. I'm building my speed back up. Not where I was lifting weights prior to surgery, but I'm getting there. Last time I saw a physical therapist, we did some dry needling and it hurt. And I asked her why. I said, am I becoming a wimp? Like, I've been poked and prodded a lot since last, April. And she said, no, you actually have more muscle definition than you've had since you started coming to me. So we're starting to see some physical changes with the little bit that I've been able to get back into doing. So I'm really excited that that's happening. So this is the context of what my journey's been like, and it's not a label, it's not a limitation, it's just information. This is the body I'm working with now. I'm not trying to get back to what I was. I'm just learning who I am now and what this body can still do, and it's surprising me every day, and I'm incredibly grateful, and I want to treat it right. I want to treat it well. Going forward, I'll be sharing what rebuilding looks like, what I train, how I train, when I train, what I avoid, the decisions that I make. I've started back at, I had my second session at Warrior Challenge Arena in Broomfield, Colorado with Coach Christy, taking her Ninja Fit class. So she's adapting their program to help me rebuild my strength, rebuild my stability, rebuild my mobility. And she's pushing me. I'm sore the next day. I sweat profusely during her sessions. I groan and grunt a lot, and she giggles a lot. But it's a great place to be. It's a great group of people to be around to help me come back. They understand my limitations. They know where I was. They know where I'd like to be someday in the future. And I just have a wonderful, wonderful group of people cheering me on and supporting me. Today, Christy's husband, Coach Kyle, came up to me and said, hey Mel, did you know if you eat 5 servings of fruits and vegetables every day, you train your body 150 minutes a week, you're gonna cut your cancer reoccurrence risk to 50%, by 50%. And I was so touched that a man who has not had to deal with breast cancer within his immediate family with his wife, or hopefully he never has to, that he would take the time to look something like this up, and that he would encourage me in such a way. It's just, I'm incredibly fortunate to have such amazing people around me. So I just want to say that if you're watching this because you're starting over, you're in your own version of starting over, whatever that looks like, I'm really glad you're here. And I just want you to remember that you don't have to have it figured out. I certainly don't.